everyone, welcome back. Today's video comes with a very special announcement. So this last week I got married. I am now Mrs. Colleen Cosplay. And since I am newlywed, it is time to finally share my wedding dress with all of you guys. So a little bit of backstory for those who are confused, because it has been quite the ride getting married during a pandemic. I got engaged September 2019 and we did all the planning. We did all the planning for our May wedding, which we then had to postpone because of the coronavirus pandemic. And we postponed our May wedding to August, thinking that that would be safe at the time. And at this point, I'm not even sure we'll be able to have our big gathering of family and friends in August. So me and my husband, we made the decision to just get married, go and get legally married, and we will have the large celebration with family and friends for later. I am finally married to the love of my life. So with the backstory out of the way, I'm going to tell you the story behind my wedding dress. So shortly after we got engaged in September, I designed my wedding dress, and I made an entire YouTube video about how I went through the process of designing my wedding dress. So I will link that in the description if you want to see that fresh from my engagement. And the first item that I purchased for my wedding dress was actually the day that I got engaged. So the day of our engagement, we decided to pick up some beads to sew onto the wedding dress. We thought it'd be kind of like a cute little thing to add, that the beads that were sewn onto my wedding dress were actually purchased the day that we got engaged. So we went to a little local bead shop there, and they had snow quartz beads, which are really good quality. It isn't like the plastic beads or anything. Like, these are actual quartz beads. I was so afraid that I wouldn't have enough beads that I bought their entire stock that they had that day. So I got like 5 strings of snow quartz beads. So after I had the beads, I just kind of kept them to the side until I was ready to use them. Next, I got the pattern. So I used this Vogue pattern as well as this other pattern. I kind of mixed them together. So I took the dress shape of the Vogue pattern and then this other pattern I used for the neckline. And then I brought it over to my grandma's place where I was going to work on the wedding dress there. So my fiance wasn't seeing the wedding dress in progress. He could just see the finished dress on the day of our wedding. So I was working at it with my grandma. She taught me how to sew. And I remember going over and being like, "Grandma, I got this Vogue pattern and it says it's for advanced." And I was like almost worried. What if I'm not good enough to sew this pattern? It says it's for advanced. And she was like, no, you're fine. You're advanced. You're an advanced sewer. You can sew with this pattern. So then I also had to buy the fabric. So I went to Joann's on Black Friday, and I apparently went at the time that was like the most crowded or something. But I remember I got there and they didn't have a single shopping cart available. But I would not be deterred from my mission. I was gonna get this wedding dress fabric. So I went and I picked out this satin fabric for the base. So this is for the lining, then for the base, and then I got another fabric which is for the lace overlay. And so I grabbed both bolts of fabric. I got the entire bolt for both of them, whatever they had left there. And they didn't have shopping carts, and I had a crutch in my left hand. So I stood in line to get this fabric cut for like an hour with a crutch in my left hand and holding 2 bolts of fabric in my right hand. And I didn't want to like put them on the ground and get them dirty because, you know, Black Friday is not Merry Christmas. On Merry Christmas, people will help you and they will be like, "Oh, maybe you'd like to use my shopping cart, or maybe you'd like me to help carry." No, this is Black Friday. This is not Merry Christmas. This is Black Friday. So I braved the Black Friday situation at Joann's and I got 2 bolts of fabric, and that is what I used for the fabric for my wedding dress. And sewing the dress, there really isn't much of a story there. It honestly went very smoothly until May came and our wedding was postponed, and I was crushed. So I was so upset that we had to postpone our wedding that I took my unfinished wedding dress and I stuck it in a garment bag, and I did not look at it for like 2 months. Like, it just made me too upset. So up to this point, I had completed everything except the buttons down the back of the wedding dress and all the hand beading. So now fast forward to June, and we made the plans to get married in the month of June. Now, I had not like opened up my wedding dress stuff in a long time, right? I could not find the buttons. So I had apparently left the buttons that I was planning to use at my grandma's house, but I of course was panicking. So I ended up buying 3 different sets of buttons from Joann's because they only do curbside pickup. And I was like, I don't know what buttons I want, and I can't just buy them one at a time, and then, like, if I don't like it, buy a different set. So I bought 3 different sets of white buttons from Joann's, and I ended up finding the buttons I originally wanted to use. I ended up going with these buttons, which actually, I am really glad I found them. These were one of the sets of buttons I got curbside at Joann's, and they, like, matched the lace so beautifully. I'm so happy I ended up with these. And then I did all the hand beading to finish it up, and as I told you, like, I wasn't really worried about the hand beading. I was like, I'll probably get it done, you know, pretty quickly. It's all hand beaded. I did about like 3 different stitches holding each individual bead down. So it was a lot of hand beading. So that's the story with the dress. And then the shoes are actually my She-Ra cosplay shoes. So there are very few options, at least on Amazon, for flat formal shoes. I can't really wear heels because of my disability. So I found these shoes for my She-Ra cosplay, and I was like, I'll just wear those to my wedding too. So I'm actually wearing a piece of, like, that I got for a cosplay to my wedding. And then I had also planned on making a giant veil. So I got this like sparkly beaded fabric, and I originally bought it for my Lucille cosplay. And then I decided I didn't want to use it for that cosplay, like it just didn't fit. And I later decided that this would make a really good wedding veil. Now, I just didn't really have time to make a wedding veil, so I used this fabric to make a wedding veil for Wally the wheelchair. So it looks very nice. Is actually a single safety pin. I just took the 2-yard cut of fabric. I didn't do anything to it. I just wrapped it around the wheelchair and held it together with the safety pin. And I actually like this better than a veil. So I don't wear the veil. Wally the wheelchair wears the veil. And I'm sure we will have many couples cosplays coming in the future. I'm very excited for the debut of Mr. and Mrs. Colleen Cosplay at our next con. So thank you guys so much for watching. And I will see you guys all in the next video.